6 years ago, I reviewed my first Marlowe watch, and that was the Marlowe Morar Beacon. Today, I have the latest from the Scottish based brand, and that is this Marlowe Morar 310. Now, this newest version, while some elements have remained from the original, is a much different Morar. Now, there are four standard versions of this new Morar, along with one limited edition model that at the time of this video is basically sold out. Now, I'll get into some of the differences of these models later in the review, but all new models have a 42mm polished stainless steel case. It has what are essentially a version of wire lugs, which is definitely a different look for a dive watch, a really grippy and aesthetically pleasing look for the bezel edge, crown guards that tell you how to use a crown, and like always, you can get it with a choice of straps, but the one that they show off most is this tactical Velcro strap that comes in a few colors. As the 310 on the dial suggests, it's 310 meters water resistant and it's using the Miyota 9039 movement. The one I have here is dubbed the Air Steel model, which has more of a bluish gray colored dial and bezel, and if nothing else, a very unique look. Its starting price is $785, which can go up depending on your strap choice, so let's go ahead and take a closer look. I don't generally show boxes or packaging or really discuss them much these days, as most are rather generic, but I did have to show this one as it's quite nice. All packaged up, it looks like a hardcover book, and then inside, they really went all out with the presentation, and you get the watch head showcased separately, and there's a spot for all the straps and the spring bar tool. I'm not big on packaging, but I do have to say, this is a cool presentation. Now, the watch does pack a lot when it comes to specs and function. While there are a lot of micro brand dive watches these days that many consider to be made for desk diving, Marlowe wanted to make something that could be worn by everyone. It's a true deep dive watch with a 310-meter water resistance. It's got a thick box dome sapphire, a screw down crown and case back, and it's got a helium release valve tucked away in a spot I don't think I've seen before. It's also pretty stylish and absolutely does not follow the same formula many brands do when it comes to design. I mean, just look at this case. It's a very round case with screwed in crown guards, wire style lugs, a thick rifled bezel as they refer to it, and while not revolutionary, pretty distinct hour and minute hands. So let's go ahead and start with the dial, and I will talk about the few differences between the models as well. As I said, there's this one dubbed the Air Steel. This is a blue-gray dial and bezel. You can see the official color of it on their website, and it's highlighted in what they call post office red. And as with all things, lighting can change the color a bit. And in darker lit rooms, it can look kind of black or dark gray, but this is a bluish gray color. Now, there's also a black dial with a yellow bezel dubbed the Gold King, a sea-inspired one that has more of a underwater bluish green color, an all black dial and bezel, and the limited decade one with a pastel blue dial and a white bezel. And those last two are the ones that differ slightly. The limited version has a different hour markers, and the black on black model is actually the most different as it has the same markers as the limited one, but also a different handset, as well as having a traditional elapsed time bezel instead of the reverse numbers bezel. The dial has a stone texture, and this is a multi-layer dial. The outer layer has cutouts that the applied indices sit in. It's a no date dial and a no date movement, so no phantom date anywhere. But instead of a date, not exactly in place of a date, but there is that large applied dot on the dial with the 310. And initially I was like, well, it's a little large, but the more I looked at it, this is a really clean dial. There's no other text beyond the logo, and I much prefer something like this than 6 lines of text on a dial. The hands are really large and they're fat arrow tipped hands, partially skeletonized, and I love the look. You don't see hands like this all the time, and they're not too large to look out of place, yet they're extremely easy to read. The minute track is that postal red, as well as the tip of the second hand and that 310 logo, and that red spreads to the sapphire bezel insert as well. The bezel is really easy to grip and it's great to turn, and I just love the way it looks. Call it rifled, call it a turbine style bezel, whatever you want, it looks great. The insert is a domed sapphire, and yep, they went reverse numbers here. It still works the same though, and it's still unidirectional. The pip is a separate rod screwed down through the insert, and like I said, I love the look and it all functions very well. Now, the case itself is very interesting. Marlowe refers to this as the SAR, Search and Rescue Case, and it's the first thing I'll call out is that it's an all high polished case. The whole case, the crown guards, those wire style lugs, everything's high polished, which is not my favorite, but I will admit it's very well polished and it does look nice. The crown guards are removable. On the site, they refer to them as sacrificial crown guards because if you damage them, they can be replaced. But the other thing I'll call out here are the arrows with the O and the C for open and close. To me, this is the same as when brands put the arrow on the dial with the word date pointing to the actual date. It's just so unnecessary, but if you are one who doesn't know how to operate a screw down crown, well, it's here for you, and I hope you will retain the knowledge for other watches. I do know how to use one, and so when I did, it's a solid crown, no issues with it at all, and I like the overall look. I just wish they would remove those arrows. Hidden on the 12 o'clock case side between the lugs, that's where that helium release valve is. Now, I'm betting this is not the first to do it, and I'm probably just forgetting some watches that have done this. And while I do find it unnecessary to have a helium release valve on watches, I will say I like the placement here instead of the usual 9 or 10 o'clock case spot. The case back is one of the only areas that somewhat resembles the original Morar, and they still have an image of the Morag, a fantasy creature said to be in Loch Morar. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard case back, but inside you have the Miyota 9039 movement. I'm a big fan of this movement, and in general, the entire 9000 series from Miyota, and these movements have proven to be very reliable over the last decade or so. Now, Marlowe sent me two straps, a gray and a red Velcro strap, and a red silicone. Now, I do wish it was an FKM rubber strap, but it's been fine to wear, and the red looks good with the dial and bezel accents. It's been comfortable, though, but it's still not too warm here in the Northeast. The Velcro strap, I have to admit, I do think it looks cool, but I'm generally not a fan of these style of straps, and, well, Velcro, I just don't care for Velcro. I did wear it for 2 days though on this strap, and on my 7.5 inch or 19.05 centimeter wrist, it feels small to me, and I just don't like how it feels and it wears on my wrist. Now, of course, lots of other straps on the website available for this watch, and it's a 20 millimeter lug width, so it's easy to replace with something you already have. The lume is X1 Super Luminova, and it's dual colored as you can see, something I always like the look of, and it's pretty strong and bright as well. It's going to last a few hours, but I didn't find it to still be visible 7 hours later in the pitch black darkness. One thing I like about Marlowe watches is they are different. They have been different since their first watch release in 2016, and in this day and age, it's not easy to be different in the watch world, especially in the micro brand watch space. This is not your typical looking dive watch, and that's exactly what makes it stand out. I've seen quite a lot of comments on social media and elsewhere. Many love the look of this piece, and it's easy to see why. It functions as it should, it's very well made, and I do like it on the wrist. It's just got a unique look and the color as well. It's just something different to wear. Now, for me though, I do wish it weren't all high polished. This is touted as a tool watch, a watch not only to be worn while diving or in the water, but on land, in the air, and worn in many environments. Brushed steel, blasted steel, or my personal preference, titanium, would be great on this watch. Or if you're going to go with an all high polish like this, maybe hit it with that 1200 Vickers hard coating to keep it without scratches, at least for a while. That and remove those crown guard arrows. But that's my opinion. I want to hear yours. Don't be afraid to share your alternate view. Let me know your thoughts on this new Marloe Morar 310. If you have one yourself already, let me know how it's been holding up. I will have a written review, and that, as well as a link to the Marlowe website, are in the description. If you like this review, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to never miss a review. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.